Hey everyone, I just want to make a quick video about how when we're exercising, it is more efficient to breathe deeper than it is to breathe faster, at least in terms of gas exchange. And before we get into the specifics of that, I just want to talk about a bit of respiratory physiology as well. So there's no point in wasting any time, let's just get straight into it. As most of us know, the reason we breathe, primarily, is to get oxygen into our lungs and to remove CO2. So that's essentially getting oxygen into the body, which we need for almost everything, and getting CO2 out of the body, which can be harmful if it builds up too much. This gas exchange mainly occurs in our alveoli, which are little sort of pockets of air that exist in our lungs. These usually exist as bunches at the ends of our respiratory tract that kind of look like bunches of grapes. But they also exist budding off of a lot of the tubes in the respiratory tract just on the side. But these alveoli only exist up to a point in the respiratory tract. And these are the only places that gas exchange can occur. That means that above a certain area, gas exchange cannot occur because there is no connection between the blood and the air. This area where no gas exchange can occur is what we call dead space. And that's important, and we're going to come back to that later. In the alveoli, carbon dioxide and oxygen, the two main gases we exchange, will follow their diffusion gradients. Now, a diffusion gradient is essentially the direction of flow of a gas, and gases almost always tend to go from areas of high concentration to areas of low concentration. So that means that the oxygen that exists in the air in the lungs is going to diffuse along its gradient into the blood. And carbon dioxide, which has been building up in our blood and in our body, is going to diffuse out into the air. And again, the balance of these gases is critical during exercise. We don't want carbon dioxide to build up because it can be harmful if it gets too high, and we make a lot of it while we exercise. And oxygen is essential for energy production, which of course is critical during exercise. We generally measure our rate of gas exchange by the volume of air that enters the exchanging zone, like the alveoli, per unit of time. So that is usually litres per minute. And this can be measured by the frequency of breathing and the volume that we breathe in and out each time. So based on this, you might assume that the function of alveolar ventilation, which is basically the rate of gas exchange, would look something like this. Ventilation is equal to the tidal volume, the volume of each breath, multiplied by the frequency of breathing, as in per minute. But remember that dead space I mentioned earlier? When we're measuring a breath, the breath in and the breath out, we need to take that into account as well. So the equation looks more like this. Ventilation is equal to the frequency of breathing multiplied by the tidal volume, take away the dead space, which, to remind you, is that space in the respiratory tract, such as in your mouth, in your pharynx, which is the back of your throat, the trachea, which is your windpipe, and some other larger pipes where gas exchange cannot occur. Now, let's play around with our variables a bit, frequency and depth, to get to the crux of this video, which is seeing which is more efficient, breathing faster or breathing deeper. Okay, so you're going out for a run. Let's draw you in here as well as I can. So let's say your tidal volume, which is your volume per breath, is about 1,500 milliliters. It's about 1,500 milliliters. And your frequency, let's go with 25 breaths per minute. 25 breaths per minute. And so our dead space, which we mentioned earlier, which is crucial to this equation, is about 150 milliliters in almost everyone. So let's put that down as well. Dead space to about 150 milliliters. Okay, so let's draw out our ventilation equation. Is equal to tidal volume, take away our dead space, and multiply that by our frequency. So let's put our values in now. Then 1,500 milliliters, take away 150 for that dead space, and then times that by 25, which is equal to, bear with me, use my calculator, which is equal to about 33.75 litres per minute. Okay, now let's play around with our variables now. So let's go with tidal breathing, let's go like that, And let's make that, let's double it. Let's double both variables for the sake of the argument. So about 3,000 milliliters, which is equal to 3 liters. Now let's plug that in. So that's equal to about 71.25 liters. Okay, now let's play around with our frequency. So let's make that 50 breaths per minute, just to make it fair because we're doubling both, which that is very fast, by the way. So just bear that in mind, but this is for the sake of an argument. Let's make that 50 breaths per minute. We're back to 1,500 milliliters, take 150, which is the dead space, times 50. Okay, so we get 67.5 liters. So what we can see here is we've got a difference. We doubled one and then we doubled the other, but when we doubled our tidal volume, which is the depth of our breath, we got more liters of exchange per minute. Let's see how much. 71.25 take 67.5, a 3.75 litre difference over a minute. And so if we're exercising we'll go for a 30-minute run, okay? Let's do that. So that's 3.75, let's multiply that. What's that by 30 for a 30-minute run? Times 30 equals 112.5 litres. That's a lot of volume, especially when your lungs, for a larger male, the total volume is about 6 litres, I'm pretty sure. And the amount that we can actually exchange is only like 4.8 litres. And that, again, that's for a male. So over the course of 30 minutes, 112.5 litres, that's a lot more gas we can exchange. That's a lot more CO2 we can get rid of, and that's a lot more oxygen we can get into our muscles and the rest of our body to make energy. Therefore, breathing deeper is more efficient for gas exchange than breathing faster. So there you go. So hopefully you can see that breathing deeper is better. But if you're not a numbers person and that last bit didn't work for you, I've also got an analogy for you as well. So imagine you're trying to drink your favorite beverage out of a cup with a straw. For me, that's an iced latte. Now imagine our mouth is our lungs and we want to fill up our mouth with this liquid as much as we can. When we go to sip on the straw, you might notice that when you're trying to sip it, you have to get through that little bit of air in the straw first before you can start getting the drink into your mouth. And visually, that is this bit here I'm putting in like a lime green. So you have to like sort of sip past that bit. So in order to get my delicious iced coffee, I need to sip through that little bit first. Now I want you to imagine, if you want to fill up your mouth with your beverage as fast as possible, is it better to do quick sips and get through that little bit of air every time you want to fill up your mouth with that liquid? Or is it better to do a large sip, overcome that little bit there that's in the green, and then drink the liquid and fill your mouth up with the liquid? So in order for me to get that sweet espresso and milk, I should be taking larger sips because that's going to fill up my mouth faster if that was my goal. And obviously, when we take this analogy back to the lungs, that air that's in the straw that you have to get past is the dead space. So that's the space that, again, back to the lung example, is in your mouth, your throat, and your trachea or your windpipe, and some of the larger pipes in your lungs. So this analogy shows that in order to get more air into your lungs to exchange for oxygen and carbon dioxide, you want to take deeper breaths. So that's essentially why breathing deeper is more efficient when exercising than breathing faster, which I'm sure you've heard a million times before from your mum, your dad, your brothers and sisters, your coach, your teacher, everyone. But now you know why, or at least I hope you do. I hope I got that across. Okay, that's all for today. And if you want more of this sort of thing, I'd be more than happy to do it. This is the sort of stuff that I study at uni, so it'd be really fun to explain it to you all if you're all interested. So if you are, leave a comment, leave a like, and maybe subscribe as well, because I would love to keep explaining it to people. And that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Keep enjoying life, and I'll see you later. So we get 67